There's a pattern hidden in the Quran that took scholars over 1,000 years to even notice. By the time we get to number 1, you'll understand why even its harshest critics have never been able to explain it away. These aren't claims I'm making up. They're structural patterns preserved in the text for 1,400 years, and today we're counting down 10 of the most striking ones. Number 10. The forward and backward count. The Quran has 114 surahs. Count them from the first chapter forward, 114. Count them from the last chapter backward, also 114. Sounds simple, but for a book compiled from memorized recitation across a scattered oral tradition, that kind of internal consistency isn't accidental. Number 9. The symmetry of Surah Al-Mulk. This surah has 30 verses. Split it exactly in half, verses 1 to 15 and verses 16 to 30. Count the words in each half, 140 words, on both sides. The Prophet said this exact surah keeps interceding for a person until their sins are forgiven. A surah about protection from the grave, structurally balanced down to the word. Scholars have documented this for centuries. It's not something modern computers found. It was noticed by hand, one verse at a time. And we're only at number 9. Number 8. Life and death, perfectly balanced. The Arabic word for life, hayat, appears a specific number of times across the Quran. The word for death, maut, appears that same number of times, not roughly the same. Different scholars count derivatives slightly differently, which is worth knowing, but the core symmetry between these two words has been noted for generations, long before anyone had a computer to check it. Number 7. The number 7 itself. 7 heavens, 7 earths mentioned in Surah At-Talaq. 7 days of the week, a concept that shows up in the Quran independently of the Bible's account. The Arabic word for 7, saba, appears 147 times in the Quran. 147 divided by 7 is exactly 21. A clean multiple in a book revealed over 23 years, verse by verse, with no editor cross-checking word counts. Whoever compiled this either had superhuman bookkeeping or wasn't compiling it. They were reciting what was already complete. Number 6. Surah Ar-Rum and the fulfilled prophecy. This surah opens by predicting that the Romans, recently defeated by the Persians, would win a future war within a few years. At the time, this looked like a losing bet. The Romans were crushed. Then, within the time frame the verse specified, the Romans reversed the war and won. This isn't a numbers pattern. It's a documented historical prediction, recorded before the outcome, confirmed by outside historical sources afterward. Number 5. The balance of this world and the next world. The Arabic word for this worldly life, dunya, and the word for the hereafter, akhirah, each appear a matched number of times across the Quran. Two concepts that are opposites in meaning, mirrored in frequency. Some scholars count this slightly differently depending on which grammatical forms they include. But the pattern has been observed and discussed for centuries, not invented for a YouTube video. Halfway through the list, and every single one of these was sitting in the text since the 7th century, waiting to be noticed. Number 4. Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening chapter. 7 verses, recited by every Muslim in every single prayer, multiple times a day. It's called the essence of the Quran, a compressed summary of the entire book's message: praise, guidance, mercy, judgment. Scholars have pointed out internal balance in its structure, verses that mirror each other in theme, opening and closing on related ideas. It's the most repeated piece of text in the world, recited more times per day than almost any other passage of any book, ever. Number 3. The challenge that's never been met. The Quran directly challenges anyone who doubts it to produce even one surah like it. That challenge was issued 1400 years ago to native Arabic speakers, poets who had spent their entire lives perfecting the language. Not one person, then or now, has ever successfully done it. Not out of lack of trying. People who hated this message the most, who had every reason to disprove it, tried and failed. That's not a numbers game. That's a 1400-year-old open challenge still standing. Number 2, the preservation itself. The Quran you can read today is textually identical to manuscripts dated to within decades of its revelation. Millions of Muslims today have it fully memorized, every letter, every pause, passed down through unbroken chains, person to person, for 1400 years. No other ancient religious text has this kind of living, verified, human memorization chain running alongside its written copies. Number 1, it never contradicts itself. A book revealed piece by piece over 23 years during war, peace, poverty, and power, with zero editing process, zero committee revising it after the fact. And yet, across all of that, scholars for over 1,000 years have searched for internal contradictions. None found that survive scrutiny. A human being writing under pressure for 23 years in shifting circumstances contradicts themselves. It's almost unavoidable. This book didn't. None of this is meant to be proof in a courtroom sense. Allah didn't reveal the Quran as a math puzzle. These patterns are signs for people who are willing to actually look. The same way looking at the order of the universe points to a creator, looking closely at this text points to the same thing. A book this consistent, this preserved, this unmatched in its own language for 1400 years didn't come from a man in a cave with no education. Read it, not just about it. That's where the real signs start showing up. Ya Allah, guide us to the truth and let us recognize it when we see it. Ameen.